Hello, everybody, and welcome to a conversation with Danny Johnson. Go figure. Now, Danny, the Danny part sounds funny. The Johnson part, not so funny. Danny is a comedian, stand-up comedian. He is a clean stand-up. He likes to put that all over his webpage, just so you know. If he didn't have it on his webpage, there'd just be the F word, and everybody know that he wasn't a clean comedian, right? So he does corporate events, clubs, churches, over 15 years. He had a dry bar comedy special called The Chusky Life, which I love that title.
Yeah.
And you have a new thing coming out called, and I'm already blanking on it here. You can tell me, Danny.
Everything bothers me.
There you go. I knew I was going to get you to say it, and I would say it as well. Danny Johnson, you can go to his website. We'll just get this stuff out of the way. DannyJohnson.com. at Danny Johnson Comedy, and we'll visit those throughout the talk here. But I like to put everything up front so people don't have to wait, because they may get bored with this conversation and say, I really just want to know more about Danny. I don't really care to listen to this other guy. So we'll make sure everybody's happy, right?
Look at that. I like that. Plugs up front.
So yeah, everybody. Yeah, exactly. We'll do that. I don't want to, everybody makes people wait, right? Like they're doing them a favor when they're really not.
Yeah, it's the worst to watch a video where, and then sometimes they don't get to the point ever, and there's another part.
Right. In part 2, we'll finally tell you where to find these people.
No, not for me. I'm done with you, buddy. Blocked.
That's right. No more part 2s.
Right.
So everything bothers me. I mean, this could be everybody's comedy special, couldn't it be?
Yeah, I think, and it's funny. The title of it was created after we shot the special in Atlanta earlier this year, and it was really just a culmination of, I do actually mention that phrase in my special, but in just going through the material and the final cut, it was like, this was just a sort of a list of things that bother me that I was talking about.
There you go. This is your book's coming out called How to Write the Easiest Comedy Set. Just write down things that bother you.
Yeah. And so one of the producers was like, he goes, it seems like everything bothers you. And I go, that's a perfect name for a special.
So that's what's happening now. Let's go back 15 years and say, younger Danny, in your case, probably teenage Danny.
Right.
Is going to be a stand-up comedian. I mean, how did that all come about?
That, as far back as I can remember, I've always been interested in comedy. I grew up in a really large family in Long Island, New York, and we're all loud. We're all poking fun at each other constantly. And if you want any attention whatsoever at any giant family function, then you better have some sort of talent or be funny. And I remember starting to do like imitations or impersonations of my relatives at family functions, and it was getting a laugh. And I realized how powerful that was. Even at a young age, I'm like, wow, I'm getting positive attention just making fun of my uncle or cousin or whoever, just kind of impersonating them. And then I've stumbled in my teenage years across Saturday Night Live, which of course is not stand-up, but just fell in love with those characters. And that staying up late on the weekend led me to staying up late during the week and watching the late night TV shows and catching stand-up, Robert Klein and Jerry Seinfeld and Carlin, and they were just talking for 5 or 6 minutes into a microphone and getting laughs. And I was like, this is really appealing. And it's baffling. I didn't understand or necessarily crack up at a lot of the jokes, but, I was younger. But as I grew older, led to my first stage performance at 18 at a small club in Long Island. And I only did well because we brought 63 of the 73 audience members to the show.
So crowdsourcing was your friend basically at 18. You're like, hey, everybody.
Yeah. If you want a false sense of hope, just stack the crowd with friends and family.
That was Danny Johnson reads his Rolodex. I think that was your act back then. You're just, if you come, I will read your name on stage.
Right.
That was all.
Right. And then I finished up college in Long Island, my first 2 years of college, and I didn't do stand-ups. And from the time I was 18, I didn't do stand-up until I finished my senior year of college. And by that time, I'd moved to Florida and finished my college in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And where I ended up residing in Florida was right down the road from one of the biggest comedy clubs, or the biggest comedy club in Northeast Florida. And they had a workshop of like how to be an MC or a host of a show, and it was free. And
Wow.
the club was open Tuesday through Saturday. I joined that workshop, started, I guess, learning from some of the current hosts that were there, and eventually became a regular. And 2 years later, I was, working Tuesday through Saturday, a couple times a month, sometimes at this club hosting shows. And then, long story, longer. Other comedians that I worked for started to bring me on the road and open for them and bump me up to the middle act. And then, once you get enough material, you can kind of pitch yourself to bookers as a feature actor, a headliner. So it was a really long journey to get to start headlining venues and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad, and this is, I started pre-internet. Or pre-social media, I should say. Maybe not pre-internet, but pre-social media being popular. Yeah. So my website was huge. That was a big deal to have a website. Like, wow, you have a URL, which is why I have
website.
Yeah.
There you go. Here it is. This is it today.
Which is why I have the .com, DannyJohnson.com. It's kind of rare to have a .com, and I've had people want to buy it, which is interesting.
Really? How much you get offered for that?
I've gotten upwards of $4,000.
Wow!
But it's been a good decade since someone's tried to buy it. There's a semi-famous musician out of England, and then there's a few public speakers, all with my name. So they're not comedians, but they are well-known speakers.
With a name like Johnson, so. Mm-hmm. There's got to be several Dannys out there.
It's funny you say that. I remember I had the hardest time getting with this one particular booker, and finally I got a hold of them on the phone. And this is after like years of emailing or just trying to get in with them. And I go, "What did I do?" And they go, "Yeah, I booked you and you didn't show." And I said, "I haven't worked for you ever." And they go, "You're Danny Johnson out of whatever city they mentioned." I go, "No, I'm in Northeast Florida." They're like, "Oh my gosh, there's another one of you." I was like, "Well, that's not me. Why didn't you at least meet with me and find out?" So I ended up working for the booker. But yeah, there was a like almost like a bizarro Danny Johnson.
Now you just need to get into the opposite and get more gigs based on this other Danny Johnson.
Yeah, he needs to step up his career.
I had an email address where this person thought it was their email address and they kept signing me up for everything. It was very aggravating. So, I mean, you could do the same thing for the other Danny Johnson if you want.
I do that too. I sign up people's email addresses for stuff. If they wrong me in life, they get on everything.
That's your next special. Don't tell me your email. You'll get a bunch of crap. So you did this when you were young. You went to college, which I'm assuming your mother said, "Finish your degree, please. Don't just run off and do comedy." What was your degree in?
Business management. I went to 2 years at State University of New York at Farmingdale, and then I finished my bachelor's at University of South Florida in Tampa. And it took me so long. I jokingly refer to my college experience as the decade of excellence.
That's very good.
Yeah.
So did it take you a whole decade or no?
No, not. It probably took me 2 years for the associates in New York, and then probably 3 years and a semester to finish.
Okay.
I remember my count because I was away from my parents for the first time. They were still in New York, and I was in Florida having a time of my life at this giant college.
Yeah.
And I remember finally at one point in my second senior year, the guidance counselor that I meet with each semester was like, look, you got to finish up. What do you,
You can't
you're
just hang out
47
here.
years old. I don't know how old I was. But it was like Van Wilder. I don't know if you ever seen that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I finished up she's like, she goes, you can major in like 3 different things if you've taken so many classes.
So you had to make a decision. You took enough, but not quite enough, I guess. You had to
Right.
have one more class in each
Yeah.
category or something to push
She
you
was
over
like,
the
you can do
top.
business administration, you can do accounting, you can do
Yeah.
anthropology, you can do. I was
Yeah.
like, oh wow.
Basket weaving is just a tick away, Danny.
Yeah.
A tick away.
Yeah.
And you're
And
like,
what,
no.
fun fact, and I don't mean to get your lady listeners all riled up, hot and bothered, but when I did my 2 years of college in New York, I was on a partial scholarship for bowling.
Oh, that's hilarious because I actually have a friend who was a bowling scholarship type. He was almost a pro bowler
Yeah.
at one point, which that's more of a Midwest thing, I thought. But you're
Yeah.
an East Coast guy, so
Yeah. I was actually cutting class bowling on campus, and the coach saw me and offered me a part scholarship to continue school and be on the bowling team there. So
now would you consider your style, more uh, a Weber style or a Flintstone style?
I would say Flintstone. I'm not a trash talker like Weber.
Okay. Because for many years, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, and for
Okay.
many years, the Bowling Hall of Fame was downtown St. Louis.
Oh, interesting.
And Weber, Dick Weber, and Pete Weber, his
Yeah.
son, lived here.
Oh, oh,
They had a
yeah.
bowling alley, Dick Weber Lanes.
Yeah, I
It's
remember
crazy.
my ultimate goal was to be a pro bowler and comedian, and just either tour the country doing tournaments or comedy shows.
That I mean, they're making a sequel to
Kingpin?
Kingpin, right? Kingpin 2. I mean, this to me sounds like a spinoff. The
It
comedian
could be.
bowler. I
Yeah.
think it's a pitch. I think we were going to write it right here.
Yeah.
Danny Johnson he go by, in the afternoon, he's a pro bowler, and at night, he's on
Yeah,
stage telling jokes.
we'll call it Knock 'em Dead or something like that.
Well, okay. I was thinking strikes or something simple.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Stay in Your Lane or something like that.
There you go. Gutter ball.
Yeah.
Everybody loves that, right? So
We'll have
like
to test it
Kingpin.
with some focus groups. We'll get on it.
Put that down.
I feel a partnership brewing.
Mark me down for that one. Gutter ball sounds good. Gutter balls sounds like an 80s comedy. But anyway, let's get back to Danny.
Which are great comedies, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, gutter balls. It's like joysticks or one of those things. So you're pro bowler, comedian. So now obviously you finished your degree. Is this when you finally got serious about doing your stand up after college, or did you like take a job and you're like, man, this is the worst?
Yeah, I did the job and comedy at the same time, and then eventually resigned from the job.
What'd you do?
I worked for my first ever real job was for a landscaping and irrigation company, installing landscaping and irrigation on new homes, and then I went to Citi at a call center for Citibank credit cards.
Oh God!
Then I remember I was interested in transferring from where I was to Tampa with Citi to help them open up a new site. And then I had a girlfriend at the time who was like, why aren't you doing stand-up full time? You're living at home. You have money in the bank. You're young. So instead of going into the boss's office and confirming I was moving to Tampa, I went in and resigned. And then my girlfriend broke up with me. So
she's like, I cannot stand a person with this much gumption. I have to get out of this relationship.
I can't have somebody without a job. I was like, you told me to.
This was part of her 3-step plan. She's going to destroy your life and then destroy,
Yeah, how can I get an excuse to break up with this guy?
That's
well,
right.
he's pretty funny. What if I encouraged him to improve his life? and then broke.
Usually the girlfriends that encourage you are the good ones.
Right.
I think this is good.
I have
This
a good
just got
one,
written into Gutterball.
Yeah, this is.
You
I
got
swear,
a girlfriend
if you see
anti-girlfriend.
Gutterball years from now, we never had this conversation. So don't get your lawyers ready.
That's right. You're going to shred this. I just saw a thing that apparently Seinfeld, when it became popular, got all these spec scripts, and they literally just shredded all of them as they came in the mail. They didn't open anything; they just shredded them so there would not be any kind of issues with people saying that was my episode. So, anyhow, that's a nice downer point there. That's a downer thing. So your girlfriend encouraged you to do stand up, then she dumps you.
Yeah.
But you like, well, might as well just keep doing it.
I mean, I knew I was going to do it eventually anyway. There was just a little shove, a little push. Mm-hmm. And then, having the benefit of living at home was great at the time,
definitely.
And then eventually,
I always tell my kids, take advantage of me while you're here, so you can just sop up all the free stuff and do what you want.
It was nice to be able to not pay rent and being gone so much anyway. It was just not, and then it was nice to just be able to come home, to someplace.
You still tour though, don't you?
Of course. Yeah, I do. Now I blend the stand up with any kind of acting work I can get or voiceover stuff. Those three, and then I get royalties from my very first comedy special I did in 2019, the Chusky Life. You mentioned that earlier.
Which that's a good name, by the way, Chusky. It's like,
is
it like some kind of combo word? I'm assuming it comes with husky. So
yeah, well, that's where it came from. So and this is in my very first notebook I still have it. Very first notebook I ever created for comedy was in like 7th or 8th grade. And I still have it. And it was just funny ideas I wrote down. And my mother would take me shopping for school clothes every year. And 6th or 7th, 8th grade, I was in the mall, and sometimes I do this on stage, and I try to get away from my mom in the mall just to be with my friends. And Long Island moms are very loud. They don't come to find you; they just yell until you come to them. So we'd be in a higher end store looking for clothes like Sears or Penny's, and that's all I hear is her yelling like, "Daddy, I'm over here in the husky section. What's your waist now? 42?" And it's tough skin jeans. They were called husky jeans. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Mom, I'm not husky. I'm chubby. I'm like chubby husky," and that's where Chusky came from.
Ah, okay.
And who would know? 20 some odd years later, I would use that as a joke, and make it the title of my first special.
That's funny. Yeah. No, I figured it had something to do with it. I did not. I apologize. I did not watch the special. I'll be totally honest with you.
You're with the majority of Americans.
I wanted you to know I'm always totally honest with all my guests. So, yeah. So,
well, you should, and that one, and the next, and this new one.
I'm afraid the new one will just get me riled up because a lot of things bother me as well, and so then I'll just be like, "Oh my gosh, this is like, one of those things where it's like one of those 12-step things that helps your life. Like if I just write down everything that bothers me, I will feel so much better, and then
It's very therapeutic. Comedy in general is very therapeutic. It's writing down everything that moves me in some way and then trying to make it funny. It's like releasing it. I would say 20% of the stuff I write makes it to the stage. 10% makes it permanently to the stage or long term, right? Mm-hmm. Everything else is just therapy, just writing it down.
Now, so you're just basically, this was a whole self-help journey that you're on, and you're still not cured yourself after 15 years?
Nope. No, I don't think I'll ever be. There's no cure. There's just a treatment plan.
Constant.
I'm like Big Pharma. There's no cure. It's just treating you repeatedly.
We're just helping you along.
And if I had no problems, what would I talk about on stage?
I don't know. I'm sure there's a husky version of adult pants that you wear. I don't know. Your
Yes.
wife, are you married? Do you go out with your wife and get you clothes or anything? No.
I was married. Now I'm divorced. I have a wonderful girlfriend in a long-term relationship. But yeah, she gives me plenty of material. I have all new stuff, you know. So I'm constantly writing, and that's a cautionary tale to some folks that I hang out with, are you know, please don't put this in your show, or and then I of course say no, and then I do.
Right. That's,
you know, it's,
hey, I mean, you're not going to be able to pack them into the places if you keep cutting friends off like this. I mean,
that's
come
right.
on.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're going to pass the break-even point, and it's going to be
Sometimes,
costing you.
but hey, if I'm honest with them, it's insulting to them because most of the stuff they say is so boring. I don't have, you know, it'll be some situation and they'll be like, "Don't you put this in your comedy act?" I'm like, "This couldn't be more boring. I couldn't care less about what you're talking about right now."
There is no way this will ever make.
Are you trying to make me bad?
That's right.
At comedy, because
if I want to fail, I will use it.
Right. And then some people are the opposite. They go, "Hey, I read this joke on the internet the other day. You can use it in your show." I'm like, "That's not the way it works."
If you were Milton Berle, it did. But
yeah, I heard that. Well, not the internet though.
Not the internet, right? Well, you know, so you've obviously had to be fairly tenacious at this because this is not for the faint of heart, I would say. And so, what is the motivator? I mean, I don't see any pictures on your website. You're driving around in a Ferrari with throwing, you know, $100 bills out the top of it or something. No. So it's not the money.
No.
What pushes you? What's driving you now?
Well, first I'm going to Google tenacity. Then second, it's the love of it. I tell new comics this a lot when they ask for advice. I go, you need to be very comfortable with the word no. You're going to get no a lot in any business where there's auditioning, almost like sales. You know, you're going to get more no's than yeses. So be very comfortable with that and know that this no is not a personal attack on you. Maybe it is in some instances, but it is just another venue. And I love it so much. It's hard to explain. I love to make people laugh, whether it's an interaction in the supermarket one-on-one where nobody will know but that person, or on stage. I like the idea that you can come to my show and for 60 minutes, you can forget about your problems. I'm not going to talk about politics or get overly, it's clean. So it's clean, but not cheesy. It's original thought, original material. Not sexual, and you know, it's just not uncomfortable. You can bring whoever you want to the show and just forget about your problems and walk out in a better mood than you came in. And if I can accomplish that, I've done my job. And I get the same, return from them. You know, the audience having a good time makes me have a good time. So it is a very addicting career. And I would probably say, if I was to detail out how much I've been paid for all my gigs, I probably have been paid zero more than any other amount. Because you have to get on stage relentlessly in the beginning for free at open mics to get any better. And I still do open mics I still do open mics for free now to work on new material. So, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a month, I'm out there doing a spot, 5-7 minute spot for free. So I'm still doing $0 shows just to try out new material and work on it,
So whenever you started, you're crafting your jokes and so forth. Did you have like a template? So like, did you say, okay, I'm going to be like, XYZ person, or I'm going to mimic. A lot of times people mimic things.
You can definitely
get the hang of it. Yeah. Did you do that, or how'd you do it?
I think that's the wrong approach to do that, but you inadvertently do that anyway. You inadvertently, while you're trying to find your own voice, you are subconsciously mimicking your favorite comedians. So you might have the same cadence or facial expression or timing or delivery until you find your voice, which they say, and I hate saying that phrase. They say 10 years or so, or 10,000 hours, you'll find your voice. And it took me a long, long time. So my influences are Seinfeld. He's my favorite of all time. Let's say Carlin's up there, and some others, but I'm definitely not, maybe Kevin James. People say they see Kevin James in me from King of Queens. But yeah, I wouldn't try to mimic anyone. Just go up there and be yourself, and you'll find it's very odd. And I heard Jerry Seinfeld say this. You as a comedian are the expert in funny. You are the primo expert in funny. And however, the audience tells me whether I'm right or wrong. So even though I'm the expert and I'm delivering this material because I'm the comedian, you guys tell me whether I'm right or wrong, which is it's the ultimate instant barometer for is this working or not, you know? So I would just say, as a newbie, don't try to be like, and just be yourself and see where that takes you. And it's going to take hours and hours and hours of stage time to find.
Whenever you do the new material, do you like have note cards, or how do you go through it? And then, like, if people laugh, do you like put a check mark next to the joke or something?
Well, I record it, so I listen to it after. And
oh my gosh, you listen to yourself afterwards as well?
Yeah, it's awful.
You are committed, my friend.
It's a terrible process. I do not like watching or listening to myself, and I have to do it. I did. What day is today? I did. Yeah, I did 2 shows recently, back to back. Oh, New Year's Eve, and I recorded it. And I've yet to listen to it. It's been a couple of days, and because I've yet to watch it because I know that it's not. There's only a couple things that are new. That I really want to listen to, and I just hate it so much. But I would say this. So in the beginning of my career, and I would encourage new comics to do this, I would literally type out my whole set word for word. And then I would highlight where I thought I would get a laugh, and then do the show, and then listen, to that show after, and then compare where you actually got laughs to where you thought you would. And you can make adjustments as needed. So now, while I don't write it word for word any more than once now, but I'll still do bullet points on note cards. And I'll try to memorize that as best I can. But a lot of times for open mics, to try out new stuff, I'll bring it up on stage and just read, not read it word for word, but just kind of look down. Okay, the topic is whatever, turtles. And then I'll just go into my new joke about turtles or whatever. And,
I'm inserting my own turtle joke. I don't know.
So that's
why are turtles so slow? I don't know. Yeah. I don't have punchline yet.
That's the process I use in the beginning, and then it's sort of the same process I use now, just a little less detailed.
Oh, okay. Well, it's interesting though, because I always wonder, if you talk to any comic, they're always saying, "I'm working on new material."
Yeah.
Right. That's always, constantly, and there's always a constant writing and mining for new material.
Yes.
It's almost like Bitcoin mining. It takes a lot of energy, and you don't get a lot out of it, initially. But if you get that one little thing, then everybody's happy. But then on the other side of it, I always wonder what people do to know. I mean, obviously, when you're up there, like, oh, that worked out well, but you don't necessarily know why it worked out well unless you're really paying attention.
Right, because it could be that it worked great because it was so relatable to what's happening in the news now. But doing that joke 6 months from now might never get a laugh, right? It could have worked well because it was a reference to geographical reference, and you're in that city or state. So you have to. I'll try a bit 100 times before I really retire it and say, this is just not working. I can't get this to work. And you still keep it on the back burner, and sometimes down the road it'll fit into another idea. So it might be a line or two that's sort of related to a new thing that's really working well, and you're like, oh, I can take that old thing that never worked, put it into this because it's sort of related to it, and it turns out it works. So there's sometimes a place for it down the road. Always keep your notes and re-review them from time to time. But yeah, I don't know any comedian that just tries a joke once. And it's interesting because so if you get a chance to watch my new special on YouTube, Everything Bothers Me, my opening bit is about the first and only time I've gotten a professional massage. And the bit is anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes long, depending on the amount of laughter. And that joke started with 2 lines that lasted 30 seconds. So it was working so well as an opener. And it was really just 2 punchlines. And I was like, I got home and I was like, this joke's working so well. What else happened to me during that massage? And I just kind of wrote out the whole experience in such fine detail. And it turned out to be this long story about a massage. And so that just goes to show you, just because you have a joke, it's almost never finished. You can always build on it. You know.
So tell me, I see on here, I put on the screen, it's the Honest Fox Comedy, Danny Johnson, Everything Bothers Me. And you can watch the full special on your website there. And I can throw that up there as well.
Yeah, it's been an interesting, it's very nerve-wracking to launch your own special on your own on YouTube. Because my first special was done through Dry Bar Comedy, a company out of Utah that produces clean comedy specials. And so they already have millions of fans. So my first special from them is now also on Apple, Amazon, and Peacock because of its success, and it has millions of views across different streams of
there it is right there.
Yeah, the Chusky Life. And then so putting something out on YouTube Honest Fox Comedy is a pretty well-known media company out of Atlanta. They have relationships with Jim Gaffigan and Jeff Allen and Leanne Morgan and myself and others, but they don't have a built-in platform of fans. They have an infrastructure, you know?
Right.
So I remember I think it's 2 months and a day it was released. And the first night before I went to bed, my son was like, hey, you have 139 views. I'm like, okay, well, it's only been a few hours. So that's fine. And then I woke up the next morning to 7,700 views. And then now 2 months later, it's almost at 180,000 views and climbing. So for someone you've never heard of, I consider it a pretty big success, and it just continues to get thousands of views a day. It's great.
That's fantastic. And so then so as far as, Dry Bar essentially is like they produce everything for you, right? You come in, you're the talent.
Right.
And then they kind of handle the rest. It sounds like this is a little bit different where you're kind of the producer as well in that sense.
Yeah, I had a big hand in the creative process. It was shot at their facility. They have a studio and a club itself. So they have all the equipment and cameras and stuff. It was just in partnership with them. So they filmed it. I helped edit it, which surprisingly to me, I only took out one joke. I didn't add a joke. I didn't add audience laughter. Because it was such a great couple of shows. What they put together was, I just wanted to eliminate one joke, and kind of going back to what I just mentioned, it was a joke about Jacksonville, Florida. And I was like, get that out of there. I don't know why I did that. It's too targeted, but I'm really happy with the results because I can't imagine sitting here today and saying, well, I have 500 views after 2 months and I have more friends than that,
These weren't the 63 people I drug at 18 over to the Long Island.
And it's also a special that I'm proud of because you can listen to it with anybody you want, your grandparents, your parents, your kids. And it's not geared towards kids, but it's something that you can have on without having to worry that something's going to be talked about that you have to mute it or whatnot,
So let's talk about that. So the clean comedy angle, right? Because that's something that, I suppose, now 30, 40 years ago, everything was kind of clean comedy unless you went someplace that it wasn't. And then
like
we had a transition, I think, in the 70s and 80s to where everything was not really clean comedy if you went to a show. in the 90s and so forth. And now in the 2000s and on, now we've got this whole thing where, people list themselves as clean comedy, and it's become a tag essentially. So give me a little thought process on that. What's you want to be there because?
I think it's just it's several reasons. One, it's just an extension of my personality. I'm not an overly vulgar person in real life, and when I first started comedy, I may have cursed a time or two, or a dozen times or two in the very, very beginning, and I started to realize that the curses that I was doing on stage were meant to elicit a response in lieu of a laugh. And I remember Seinfeld, in an interview being like, it's sort of, if you're using a curse word as a punchline to get a laugh, then you're not writing good enough. And I love other comics that are not clean. I love comedy in general. So I don't, it's not that I'm against it. It's just not for me. I want to be challenged. If I think of an idea where the punchline is an explicative, I'm like, I need to do better. I need to write better. So I love that challenge. Can I be funny and original? Because a lot of people equate clean comedy to cheesy. And there's plenty of them out there. So I like to try to be as original, thoughts to me and my family and my experiences as possible. I got a big compliment from this very well-known talent manager who watched my special, second one, and called me. I'd never talked to them before, just got my information, called me and said, it's really nice to see a super clean comedian that has a bit of an edge. And, while you may watch it and go, well, that's not edgy like Bill Burr or Chris Rock or so, that's right. It's not. But I'm not the family cheeseball. There's some stuff in there that people might ruffle some feathers, but it's just done in I think, a well-written, original way, and has a little bit of a ticked off edge to it. And I like that compliment from that person. And I think that's what people will get out of it.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's wrap up here, Danny. Where's Danny in the next, 5-10 years?
Well, I just, as a result of the special, I signed with an agency in Los Angeles. So I now have a manager and agent in LA, which is on the complete opposite coast. And, currently kind of submitting me for some bigger opportunities, to get me some more exposure and more nationwide exposure. So I think in the next 5 years, I will, regardless of what happens, whether I get those things or not, I will continue to tour and tell jokes wherever they'll have me, and try to bring some funny and some happiness into folks' lives. So I jokingly tell people my last show will be when I'm 100.
What, you George Burns it? Is this what you're trying to be?
I would love to. I don't know that I'll ever stop. I'll be the guy in the old folks' home holding an open mic or something. I love it so much, and I love the challenge of finding something I find funny and then translating that to 300 strangers in a room and us all laughing about it. That's my favorite thing in the world. Well,
Dan, I hope it all comes true. I have a feeling you're going to have a pilot, like a pilot for some kind of sitcom show on. Well, nowadays it'll be Netflix or Amazon or something. Yeah. Are they doing sitcoms yet? I guess they are.
Yeah, Leanne Morgan has a sitcom.
That's true. I actually just saw hers. I was flipping through things. You're right. Not as much as used to be. A Peacock has all kinds of them right now that they're doing on the Peacock, like Paper and so forth. But yeah, you'll be that. You'll be this guy who I have a feeling it won't be Gutterballs.
Okay.
No, it'll be a guy who's helping. He lives with his mom, but he's still trying to do something in Florida.
Right.
I think this has got potential. Now I got to think of a name for this one.
Yeah.
Why don't we call it Swampland?
Okay. Yeah, sort of like
You
the
didn't like
Florida
that at
man.
all. Danny's like, this is stupid. Why am I listening to this?
No, I mean, believe you me, it will be funny one day if you email me or something, be like, buddy, we talked about this. Where's my cut?
Don't worry about that. No, I was just thinking, yeah, swampland. You live down there. You're trying to sell irrigation systems to people who live in a swamp.
Right.
Yeah. It just doesn't work out.
Right.
But, you know, and it's like one of those sweet shows where you and your mom don't get along, but then, you know, you take care of her and it's a whole thing.
It's bowling night, Mom. Let me go out.
That's right.
You're 45 years old. You better.
Where's my dinner?
Right.
Yeah. All right, Danny. Well, you want to plug anything other than the website?
Yeah. Or? Well, first of all, thanks for having me, man. I enjoyed this conversation. I love talking about comedy, and I love people that are interested, and you ask some great questions, and I would love to come back anytime you want.
That's big. I wrote nothing down, Danny. This is the great thing. That was the best compliment. You're like, oh, it sounded like he was prepared. He asked a good question.
Well, you could be writing stuff down as we go. I'm talking to a cartoon right now.
That's right.
The weirdest podcast I've ever done. So
really? Oh my goodness.
I've never talked to an avatar before.
Well, it's the future, my friend.
Wouldn't that be funny if I later found out that you don't even exist? It was all AI.
It's right. Exactly. Yeah. It's all AI.
And they're like, Bob.
Hold on. I'm doing a quick search. Gutter ball. Yeah. Eventually it will be. That's a whole other conmission for us to have, Danny, about AI and so forth.
I talked about that on stage at this comedy club, excuse me. And I had AI write jokes about this city for me. And I said, you know, people ask me, are you worried about AI taking over the entertainment business, the comedy, you know, stand-up comedy? And then I said, AI wrote these jokes for me, and I read these jokes, and they were terrible. And I go, terrible. You know, I rest my case. Can I continue with my show now? But yeah, so I would say to promote DannyJohnson.com, all my social media links are on there. And truly the best gift you can give a comedian that you enjoy, that you've never heard of, the best gift is to follow them on social media. Unfortunately, everything is based on, a lot of stuff is just, the first question I get is how many followers do you have? So Instagram,
my gosh.
Facebook and TikTok is at Danny Johnson Comedy. And I put out what I think is good content, and it is entertaining. You know, feel free to follow, like, comment. But my new special, I hope to hit 1 million before the middle of the year, and that would really open up a lot of doors. That, for whatever reason, that number on YouTube is pretty special, and I'm almost at 200,000. You know, give it a shot. I think you'll like it. You'll be very surprised. And I'll leave with, I don't want to keep you any longer, but the best compliment I got on a comment on my new special, and it goes to show you the power of what people perceive as quality and non-quality based on follower count. This comment was what one would call a backhanded compliment. I did not take it that way. I knew what the guy's intent was. His comment was something to the effect of, wow, this special is not only hilarious and having me laughing out loud, but the production quality is amazing. It's nice to see this on such a small platform. So his based on my follower count, his expectations were low. And I think that goes for a lot of, you know, people just assume high follower count talent. And sometimes that's true, but give the little guy a shot, and you can quickly move on. No one will know, but I think if you give me a shot, you'll like what I have to put out there. There
you go. Give me a shot. You'll like it. Danny, thanks so much. I really appreciate you being here. Everybody check it out. Everything Bothers Me. It's totally relatable. I can tell you that right now. Check it out on YouTube, on his website at DannyJohnson.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Give me just a second. I'm going to hit a button. Stick around for just a moment afterwards.
Absolutely.
And everybody else, we'll see you next time.